English language has the minimum range of sounds, very minimum. This is why, right from your birth, if you're speaking only English language, you find it so difficult to utter some other mantra or some other language. You know, Shambho Shiva simply happens to me, not because I intend to utter it. My breath just takes that form. It is not happening just because I sit in a program or I am doing something important or not important. It's a possibility if it's properly initiated. We don't generally do those things here because except for the Devi, spiritual process here is devoid of all ritual. Those who are initiated by us here, they just have to ask for it, and wherever they are, there is a support system. Support system not in terms of teachers and volunteers and stuff. Energetic support is available wherever they are.
வணக்கம் சத்குரு. நீங்க வாக்கு சுத்தி என்ற தன்மையானது வெறும் உண்மை மட்டும் பேசுறதல்ல, ஒரு ரம்யமான அற்புதமான சத்தத்தை உச்சரிப்பது நமக்கு நன்மை கொடுக்கக்கூடியது என்று சொல்லியிருக்கின்றீர்கள். வாக்கு சுத்தியாக இருந்தால் எப்போவுமே நம்ம சாண்டிங் பண்ணிகிட்டே இருக்கணுமா? விளக்கமாக சொல்லுங்கள்.
So speech is a special gift to a human being. In terms of the complexity of what a human being can utter, no other creature can do this. Well, an elephant can trumpet louder than us. It can have you paralyzed. If it comes and trumpets anywhere near you, it'll have you paralyzed just with sheer sound. A lion can roar, birds can do so many things. But no creature is capable of coming out with the complexity with which we can utter. The languages were consciously created so that simple utterance of the language will purify the system. Sanskrit language was created like this. So most of us probably are speaking in English language most of the time. Of all the… not necessarily of all the languages, compared to the Indian languages, the vernacular languages, or compared to Spanish or Latin or even Chinese or whatever, English language has the minimum range of sounds, very minimum. This is why, right from your birth, if you're speaking only English language, you find it so difficult to utter some other mantra or some other language, because you're using a very minimum range of expression. So the more minimalistic the range of sounds that you utter happens, the less Vak Shuddhi you have. So now you have to fix it by a certain active awareness and volition. One is the sound, another is the intention of the sound. You can say "Hey" out of great love, or you can say "Hey" out of something else. Now, both of them will not produce the same impact on the system, because the volition of the action is the important or the major part of the karmic process is in the volition, not in the action. Similarly, major part of the karma is in the volition, not in the sound. But if the sounds were scientifically structured, as in the mantras and in Sanskrit language, then even without much awareness, if you utter, still you would benefit, simply because of the nature of the arrangement of sounds. But now we are speaking languages which are no more made like that. So it is best to handle it with intention. I think many times I have told you about this lady who came out of a concentration camp during the World War II, and she took a vow, you know. So just took a vow, if I speak to somebody now, if this happens to be my last, it could be. If this happens to be my last words to this person, how I would utter this? Like that I will utter to whoever I speak. It's a fantastic way of fixing your Vak Shuddhi. Vak Shuddhi means cleansing the sounds that you utter. To become conscious of the sounds, the science of sounds and the impact that this has on us and how to come to this, it is a phenomenal thing, it's not going to happen in a lifetime to understand. This is Nada Yoga. It takes a whole lot of things. So for that, to do Nada Yoga, you have a chant, if you keep it going whenever. I never consciously think about this, but if I sit, stand, you know, Shambho Shiva simply happens to me, not because I intend to utter it. My breath just takes that form. It is not happening just because I sit in a program or I am doing something important or not important. You can just bring it into your life like that. A lot of people have decided to use filthy words in their conversations, or these days particularly I'm seeing the youth in United States trying to form a whole sentence with just one word, you know. I see a whole lot of people in India also have picked these things up, and when they utter these words, people keep on saying, shit, shit. I keep reminding, please don't do it here, please don't do it here. So, this is one way of bringing the right kind of reverberation in the system. Why this is important is, if you simply become silent within yourself, there is no better way, it is the ultimate way. If you can just simply become still within yourself, that is the best way. If that's not happening, the next best and the next best is like this. You can say Shiva, it is the closest things to stillness. Otherwise, just one word doesn't do for you. You can have a little more elaborate, you need a sing-song, you can do Brahmananda Swarupa, something, or whatever mantra you picked among those 5, 6 that are there. Whatever you resonate with, you just do that. Above all, to bring the right intention into every sound that you utter. If you bring the right intention into every single sound that you utter, these sounds will reverberate in a certain way within you. This foundation of the right kind of reverberation is necessary if you want to use this human system as a higher possibility. Otherwise, it will only drag behind you all the time. If you want this to be a bigger possibility, this must have a foundation of the right kind of reverberation, and Vak Shuddhi, or cleansing the sounds that you utter, is an important part of that. But if you can become utterly still, nothing like it.
I noticed the chant you chanted this in the beginning of this event was different from the other ones. Can you explain it to us, and if there's any meaning to it or what changes are?
See, we must understand, there is something called as a mantra, okay? Mantra means we say it's a pure sound. Why is one sound pure, another is not? Not like that. That is, mantra is significant for the sound of it, not for the meaning of it. Meaning exists only in your psychological space. There is no meaning anywhere in the universe except in the human mind. But there is sound, because sound is a reverberation. And today modern science is talking about how there is no matter, everything is reverberation. There's just energy reverberating. So sound is an existential reality. Meaning is a psychological thing. Most of the… he's the expert, I have not read those things, I have not studied anything. But essentially, the essence of what is offered in the Eastern structure of learning is largely the impact of sound. How? Because creation is seen as a complex amalgamation of sounds, and certain sounds are key sounds. And when I say a key, suppose you're locked in this room and I give you a key to freedom. But you saw this, you have no concept of key in your mind. You put it in your ears and turned it, you did this, you try to stick it in the wall, this, that, it doesn't work. Only if you put it into that particular hole and turn it in a particular way, it opens up a world for you. So a mantra is significant for its sound. Meaning is a psychological and social thing. Meaning is meaningless, really, but sound exists. So the science of using the sound to create certain atmosphere within yourself and around you is what it is about. Meaning is just made up by us. Gayatri is a powerful process, very different in its nature. It is not something that's entirely focused towards one's internal or spiritual growth or that dimension. It involves various things. So this was generally taught to every householder so that for the not so focused people, some substance, some support for well-being, health, success and other aspects of life. So Gayatri is not necessarily for a serious spiritual practitioner. It is more for a householder for whom spiritual process is also one aspect of his life. It's a possibility if it's properly initiated. We don't generally do those things here because except for the Devi, spiritual process here is devoid of all ritual. Internalizing the process is little more sophisticated and subtle, but far more reliable than external processes. When we use external processes to create inner dimensions, it leads to a certain limitation of space and time as to what we do and what we do not do. You can't be 24 hours spiritually on if you are involved in an external process. It's a good support, it's a good aid, but it's just that, it's a good support. In terms of support, there are many other ways to support this. Above all, those who are initiated by us here, we support them in a completely different way. They just have to they just have to ask for it, and wherever they are, there is a support system. Support system not in terms of teachers and volunteers and stuff. Energetic support is available wherever they are. So, because of our ability to provide this support to every human being, wherever they may be, we did not establish rituals of support. It is one of the most popular things that's been done in the country for a long time. Long time means particularly in the last 1,000 years. I think since Adi Shankara, he propagated this big time. Because when he came, there was a certain degradation of general population. So he wanted to teach something that's mass. Like today we are doing Isha Kriya, mass. Gayatri is a certain process which involves many things. And considering the nature of what it is, I'm not saying it's relevant today, it'll always be relevant, but socially and structurally, it is not so fitting into modern life as it is because of the things that are needed to make this happen. In today's world, because almost a huge population on the planet today does not stay in the same place. I want you to understand, I want to look back and see. 500 years ago, most people in their whole lifetime, they got up and went back to sleep in the same place, in the same building for their whole lifetime without one day of being out. That's how life used to be. Today, I think very, very few human beings are like that. People like me, if I sleep on the same bed for 2 nights, I think it's a fortune. So, those days are gone. Because of that, certain rituals and certain ways of doing things, the relevance of that has come down substantially. I'm not saying the relevance of the basic practice is gone, no. But social things have changed, situational changes have happened, which doesn't facilitate those type of practices much. It's best they're internalized. Internalized processes can be done anywhere. We are not depending upon what kind of atmosphere we are in, what kind of people we are with, it doesn't matter. So, yoga is 100% internalized.
The repetition of mantras is believed to have a profound effect on the mind and spirit, leading to relaxation, focus and spiritual growth. Some popular mantras include Om or Am. The syllable Om is considered to have originated from the ancient Sanskrit language and is mentioned in the Upanishads, which are philosophical texts of Hinduism dating back to around 800 to 200 BCE. It symbolizes the ultimate reality, often referred to as Brahman, which is beyond form, time and space. Om consists of 3 sounds, A, U and representing the 3 fundamental aspects of existence: creation, preservation and destruction. It is believed to be the sound of the universe and source of all creation. Chanting Om is a common practice in Hinduism, Buddhism and Jainism and other spiritual traditions. It is used at the beginning and end of prayers, meditation, sessions and spiritual rituals. The repetition of Om is believed to bring harmony, peace and spiritual awakening to the practitioner. Om Mani Padme Hum. The mantra Om Mani Padme Hum is associated with Tibetan Buddhism and originates from the teachings of the Buddha. It is found in the Tibetan Buddhist scripture known as the Karandavyuha Sutra, which is part of the Mahayana Buddhist canon. Each syllable of the mantra holds profound symbolism. Om represents the body, speech and mind of all Buddhas. Mani means jewel, symbolizing compassion. Padme means lotus, symbolizing wisdom, and Hum represents indivisibility. Together, the mantra invokes the blessings of Shendrazik, the Bodhisattva of compassion, and signifies the union of compassion and wisdom. Tibetan Buddhists recite Om Mani Padme Hum as a form of meditation and as a means to cultivate compassion and wisdom. It is believed to purify negative karma, alleviate suffering, and lead to enlightenment. The mantra is often recited verbally, mentally, or written on prayer flags, wheels, and stones. Gayatri Mantra. The Gayatri Mantra is one of the most ancient and revered mantras in Hinduism. It is found in the Rig Veda, which is estimated to have been composed between 1500 to 1200 BCE. The mantra is attributed to the sage Vishwamitra. The Gayatri Mantra is a prayer addressed to Savitra, the sun deity, to illuminate the practitioner's intellect and lead them towards spiritual enlightenment. It is considered a source of divine knowledge, wisdom, and protection. Hindus traditionally chant the Gayatri Mantra during the Sandhya Vandanam, a daily ritual performed at sunrise and sunset. It is also recited during various ceremonies, pujas, and meditation practices. The repetition of the mantra is believed to purify the mind, awaken higher consciousness, and bestow blessings upon the practitioner. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. The mantra Nam Myoho Renge Kyo is central to Nichiren Buddhism, a Buddhist tradition founded by the Japanese monk Nichiren in the 13th century. It is derived from the Lotus Sutra, one of the most important Mahayana Buddhist scriptures. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo is translated as devotion to the mystic law of the Lotus Sutra. It represents the eternal truth of the universe and the inherent Buddha nature within all beings. Chanting the mantra is believed to activate one's Buddha nature, bring forth inner wisdom and compassion, and manifest positive changes in one's life. Nichiren Buddhists chant Nam Myoho Renge Kyo as a central practice of their faith. It is typically recited during morning and evening prayers as well as during personal meditation sessions. The chanting is accompanied by the silent recitation of one's personal prayers and aspirations. Am Namah Shivaya. The mantra Am Namah Shivaya is dedicated to Lord Shiva, one of the principal deities in Hinduism. It is found in ancient Hindu scriptures such as the Shvetashvatara Upanishad and the Rudram Chamakam section of the Yajur Veda. The mantra translates to I bow to Shiva, acknowledging reverence and surrender to the divine consciousness represented by Lord Shiva. It is believed to purify the practitioner's mind, body, and soul and lead them towards liberation, moksha, from the cycle of birth and death. Hindus chant Am Namah Shivaya during worship, meditation, and religious rituals dedicated to Lord Shiva. It is considered a powerful mantra for spiritual transformation and is believed to invoke the presence and blessings of Lord Shiva. Devotees often repeat the mantra verbally or mentally while focusing their attention on divine qualities of Shiva.